Alright, my mixing tips series continues with guitars, and this time distorted guitars, but the same general tips, tricks, quote-unquote rules apply for clean guitars, whatever. So this is just the way I usually do it. It's not the wrong way, it's not the right way, it's my way. And please remember, there's no rules, except only one rule. If it sounds good, it's good. If it sounds bad, it's bad. So let's listen to this song. This is the same song I used on my Mixing Tips bass guitar video, and it goes like this. Alright, you got the general idea. Now let's bypass everything what I have going on. And now let's listen the guitar bass. Okay, so what do we hear? We hear that it's a little bit woo 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 woo, and maybe a little bit harsh upper mid frequencies. So let's work on that. So there's 3 guitar tracks. I used this. I played this with the Quad Cortex, and I had the Nameless X amp there. Kind of my general live setting what I have used. So without any EQ or anything, just raw Nameless X amplifier and the Nameless X cabinet. So let's put this left guitar on center. So there's 3 guitars, left, right, and center, all separate performances. And this is one way. Sometimes I don't use the center guitar. I use left and right, and sometimes 2 left, 2 right. But this kind of basic rock track where there's no keyboards or nothing, I usually use center guitar, and with a quite different sound and a bit quieter than the side guitars, so that it just glues it. So it's just like, because even though these are doubled and separate tracks, it's the same part. There's no harmonies or nothing. So let's listen to this now. Usually I record with the mic pre, and I do this, so I have the transformer on and everything. But since this was just the Quad Cortex, I want to add the kind of the preamp thickening and preamp mojo. So I'm using the mic input with the transformer in. Immediately it gets a bit crunchier. Okay, cool. And then the left guitar. So it already, the transformer, at least on SSL case, there's a slight kind of low cut. It tightens the low end nicely, as So that's the thing. Now we have the two guitars, and then the third guitar. Let's listen it soloed. So what I've done here, it was the same amp, same everything. Usually I record with a different sound, but I just took away a lot of upper mids and lower mids and lows. So because there's bass in the center, so this is just to kind of glue the left and right guitars. And I do this you know, a lot if I'm using 3 guitars. So the center guitar, you know, lows off, highs off, so that it's just there. Doesn't matter how it sounds alone. Kind of nasal and blah, 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 but because the bass is there, so we don't need any low end. Like that. Okay, so now we have the preamp engaged on all of these, and sometimes I use EQ. I EQ these all individually, but this was the same amp, same everything, so I only EQ'd the center guitar individually, and then let's EQ the whole bass, and let's put these, you know, as like they are. And now what I want to do, I'll, you know, play the music and then I'll EQ, but since we're doing, for this sake of this video, I'll use this solo so you'll hear better. Yeah, like I said, a little woofy, a little, you know, so let's take off some of the high mids and low mids. Cool. Then let's take off some of the high mids. So how I do it is I, you know, crank it and then find what sounds the worst, and then I take it down. Lot better already. Then let's use some high pass and low pass filtering. You know, just get rid of the boop 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 and then the really high highs. Okay, then I feel like now I need to do this with everything, because I can't tell what I'm doing. Yeah, sits pretty nicely. Then let's glue them a little bit by compressing. Better. And this SSL, this compresses even though the light isn't blinking. Now it's blinking, just 3 dB, but you know, if it compresses below 3 dB, you don't see it, but you'll hear it. just there, brings them a little bit more forward. Okay, cool. Then I want to get rid of still the little bit of that low chunk. So let's add Waves CA4 Classic and his Sneap setting. I'm not sure if this is exactly his setting, but you know, similar. This is the way I do it. Cool. It tucks down those lows whenever there's this stuff. And then final touch, let's add soothe. This is really cool, kind of intelligent thing. So let's remove some of those peaks that are still kind of there. Cool. It sits really, really nicely in there. And then what I have had there all the time, I forgot to take these off, but there's a Dimension D and a guitar room. So this send goes to this Dimension D. Cool. And I'm gonna show you, listen what happens when I take it off. It's kind of coarse, but like the name says, it adds dimension. And since in this case it's panned hard left and right, it adds a little bit widthness. We could also use SPX90 on the Symphonic preset. You know, if you want to have that Zakk Wylde's No Rest for the Wicked, No More Tears sound, and it's gonna be like this. Let's mute the dimension and let's bring in the SPX90. This adds a different kind of chorusing modulation, a bit more aggressive. I'm using this on the bass, but it's a different path, so it's reserved for bass and it's a little bit narrower. So either way, or then we can use both. This way I used on my latest solo album HARDTONES. So the guitars had all the time a little bit of Dimension D and a little bit of SPX90 Symphonic, the rhythm guitars. And I had, you know, just like this, left, right, center. Okay, cool. Then we have that, and then let me show you what the center guitar does when I take it off. now there's a solo. Let's move back to the beginning. It just glues the left and right like they would be one big guitar, and widening them with the SPX90 and the dimension. And then what I also have is a room sound. I pretty much always have a little bit of room sound, and I do it usually with this one or whatever, but this, I've been using this lately, this BM60, plugin alliances plugin of Lexicon PCM60. So let's listen to the guitars. I bypass this in and out. Again, it adds width and kind of space in the mix. Like that. Let me show you how it sounds soloed. So let's put this send to, oh, it was pre-fader, okay. Pre-fader. Like that, and then sometimes I do the same what I did with bass. I'll sidechain the kick to the guitar bus. These are not low tuned, this is just E flat, so there's really no need, but if you have really down tuned guitars with a lot of low end, this is cool trick. A little bit, so you don't necessarily hear that the low end disappears briefly in the guitars. The kick is just more apparent. Then lead guitars, pretty much the same thing, EQ it just that it fits there. Let's see what I've done here. Well, I've just taken a little bit of the harsh thing, and not much, but what I do have, what I pretty much always have, I'm sending it to H3000, which is here, and to a delay, which is here, to a ping pong delay, which is here. So, lead guitar. Makes it wider, and obviously the delay adds delay, and then here in the end I have automated the ping pong delay. So it adds this nice left and right movement to the lead guitar. All right, that was, the mixing tips for a guitar. So, use what I use, D or SPX90 Symphonic or both to widen them, to add a little bit movement, make them a little bit interesting. room to add some, depth. You don't really hear that there's a room in the context of a mix, and I treat this kind of like a room microphone. Okay, and then lead guitars the H3000 to make it wider, especially if there's one. If there's two, then, sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. And then I usually have two delays, like the basic delay, that just gives it, depth and so on. And then the ping pong for those throws. But with lead guitars, I don't use room. Hey, hopefully you found this interesting and informative and got some ideas to your mixing. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care. Bye.